Zen Baboon, and coming up is Barbara Hills. This is Hidden Depths from her double CD. And let's see if... are you there, Barbara Hill?
I'm here, Terry. Hello.
Hello. Is it still snowing in North Wales?
No, thank goodness.
I know every time you seem to put a picture up, it's nearly either snow or it's frost or...
rain.
Oh, well, of course, yes, you said it was rain. Oh, no. Well, you decided to move there instead of...
I know, it's beautiful, though.
Oh, it
is beautiful.
Very idyllic in that castle of yours.
Yes, in my castle. If only.
Yeah. Well, it's a castle. Well, you've got your own moat, haven't you? I know you have.
Yes, pretty much, actually, yes.
You need a boat. Well, welcome back to the Hawke session.
It's lovely to be back.
I can't remember how long it's been. It's been about a year, is it?
Yeah, it must be.
Oh, dear.
Yes, a lot's happened in that time.
Yes, including this show and yourself. Everything, things do change as time ticks by, etc. And time's going to change here in about an hour's time. It's going to be 10 past 1. No, it'll be 10 past 2 all of a sudden. But anyway, do you want to give the listener a little bit of background about yourself and your musical, where it all began for you, Barbara, please?
Right, well, my musical upbringing, my parents weren't musical at all, really.
Oh, they weren't? Oh. Oh.
They, not until late in life, when they got a bit more interested in it. Mm-hmm. My grandfather was the musical person in the family, and he was deeply into folk.
Oh, yes.
And I also had an uncle who was a drummer in a dance band.
Oh.
So there were definitely musical genes in the family, just not with my parents, really.
Oh, well, the parents.
So, yes. So I had to badger my parents for a piano, which I did. I was a horrible little child. I did manage to learn classical piano from childhood. And although I did love it, I can't say that it was particularly my instrument. Right. My problem is I have quite small hands. And when you get to grade 8 and you want to play Liszt, it's just not going to happen.
No, you need
a shame. But I did find out later that keyboards have much narrower, often have much narrower keys.
Oh, right, do they?
And I could play things on a keyboard that I couldn't play on the piano.
Oh, right.
Because the stretch was much easier. So that was really quite wonderful for me to discover. So really, my early influences were radio and folk music.
Oh, right.
And the classical music I learned when I was learning piano.
Yes.
They were my early influences.
What? Chopin and Beethoven. And,
yes, absolutely.
Well, you'll have to do an album including a little bit of some classical roots of yours.
Yeah.
I can see that coming, I'm sure, yes.
Yes, although I think I've got a few sort of one or two pieces in Moon and Shadows that lean towards the classical. Like Sea Sunrise really is pretty classical.
It has that feel to it, etc.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about 6 tracks.
Okay.
3 off the Moon.
Yes.
Off Moon, rather than 3 off Shadows.
Okay.
Now, how did this double album come about? Because originally there were 2 separate CDs, weren't there? Or 2 singles.
Yes, there were. What a horrible story that is.
Oh, even more interesting. Yes.
My whole musical background is pretty much a disaster zone.
Oh.
My first album was released by a label and a publisher who signed me, and then a few weeks later wound up his business.
Oh, charming.
So although it was released, there was absolutely no promo, no marketing, nothing really. Didn't really get off the ground. And it took me 3 years to get the rights to the music back. It taught me a lot about looking at the small print in one's contract. But in that time, I had written another album. So when I did get the rights back, I decided to release both of the albums. The first one is Moon on the Moat,
yes.
the title of one of the tracks on it, and the second one as In the Shadows of Roasting Spring, which was the title of a track on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I say I briefly released it because, again, before any promo or marketing took place, disaster struck,
Oh, dear, yes.
and I discovered I had an aneurysm.
Oh, right.
Which I actually had tinnitus in one ear.
Oh, right.
It's very annoying if you're a musician, or at the time I was a music teacher,
Oh, dear.
and it was quite difficult to deal with, so I went to the doctor, and to cut a long story short, ended up with cranial surgery. Which sort of put a stop to everything for a while. But all's well that ends well,
Good, yes.
and I did recover with all my faculties in good working order. And then I thought, well, what now? So I thought I would have one final push on it, because it seemed such a pity to waste all the work that I'd done.
Indeed.
So I decided to make one beautiful little book containing the music
Yes.
and a range of photographs of places that had inspired me. I took the moon from Moon and Shadows and teamed it with the shadows from In the Shadows of Roasting Spring, and I called the double album Moon and Shadows. And the whole album is really about landscapes, seascapes and spacescapes and imagining yourself into them.
Oh, right. All combined into a musicscape.
Yes.
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 Oh, well, we're going to listen in the background. We've got Hidden Depths playing in the background. So let's have a little listen to that, and then we'll come back and have a chat about that. Here we go. Nice pulling out the plug of the bath there.
Oh,
Barbara.
thank you. I'm glad you like that.
Yeah. Yes.
I like to put an original bit of something in each track, an original bit of sound, in as many tracks as I can. Not everyone's got them. So I like to make my own little samples and just slip them in here and there.
So what's the story behind this one then? Hidden Depths. I don't know where the filter came from. But,
well, everybody should have a different story when they listen, I think, because they're imagining it for themselves. But my story of it is that I'm swimming underwater, and to begin with, it's beautiful and warm and shallow and bright and full of the movement and sunlight that you find and the patterns on the water and small, colourful fish. Then I descend lower onto what looks like the seabed, and there are all these weird creatures chattering and burrowing in the sand. And then I swim past across the top of a deep chasm. I just look into it, and a shaft of sunlight hits and disappears into unfathomable depths. And then I'm tempted to explore, but it looks very dark down there, and I think, no, whatever's down there, I think I'll leave it undisturbed. So I shoot back up to the shallows through the small bright fish again, and the odd jellyfish you can hear in there. And you can hear a ship somewhere close.
Oh, right.
And then the swim is over. And that's the story of it for me. But as I say, it's different for everybody, really.
Yes, I think so. Yes, I'd for me it was just laying in the bath, and pulling the plug out. That was what. Each one to their own. They all got their own. We all have our own hidden depth.
Yes, we do. We do.
Okay, let's have a little listen to Moon on the Moat, because actually there's a lovely moon out here now, isn't it?
Lovely.
Yes, it is.
Let's have a little listen to this. Here we go. Well, obviously, you must have been gazing at your own moon on your own moat outside, right outside your Castile, of course.
Actually, I used to live not that far away from Warwick Castle. And I think Warwick Castle probably had quite a great impact. I first went there when I was 5 and continued to go there throughout most of my life. We lived in Warwick for a while as well, not far away.
Oh, well, right. Okay.
So there are shadows of that in it. It's not really that. It's not Warwick, because if you've ever been there, although the Avon is on one side, the actual moat is dry now. This is more to do with a painting I did years ago. And the story, which is kind of deliberately vague so everyone can add their own meaning. But you're standing hidden in trees beside the moat, the castle moat, and it's night. And the moon is hidden by cloud. You're quite close to a drawbridge, which is down. And you peer up through the branches and the brambles, and you see the silhouette of the bridge above you. And 2 people are meeting. The clouds part and the moon shines out just for a second and illumines them. I think it would spoil it, really, to say who they are. You have to decide, are they lovers? Is it a knight and his maiden? Are they conspirators? The observer, and only you know the answer.
Cool. How enigmatic is that? That's far too deep, Danny. So there's your roots, you see, Warwick Castle. That's what it is. It's all about that. Well, we're going to push on to the third track off the moon, which is Pebbles, so back by the beach. But let's have a listen to Pebbles. Here we go. Was that named a cat or a dog?
No, it is about actual pebbles.
Okay, here we go. Has a very sort of calypso type feel to it. So am I on the wrong lines completely?
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. It's the percussion, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Yes. I wrote this really at a time when I desperately needed a holiday. My mother had died, and I'd gone through a hard few months with everything that involved. And I really wanted to get away, but at the time, we didn't have the finances to do it, and I had a young family as well. So I went on holiday in my imagination instead.
Well, it's a very cheap holiday in that sort of
work, to be honest. It was, in my imagination, I'm sitting there on rounded stones, and there are pebbles at the high tide line, and then a lovely stretch of soft sand and a jetty going down to the sea, and a lovely turquoise sea on the horizon, and it's warm. What could be better? It would probably rain if I really went on holiday. Oh dear. So that's what inspired me to write it.
Right.
To be honest, just to be in a different place.
Yes.
I suppose it's escapism, really.
Well, a lot of us
but sometimes you just need that, don't you? That break, mental break, really.
Yeah, some of us are lucky enough that they can actually go away and experience it, and others just have to close their eyes and imagine that they're sitting on the beach, whether it be in Arizona, Southern California, or West Indies, you name it.
Yeah.
Wherever. Oh, lovely. Oh, right. Right, what's coming up next? Let's have a look. Now, we're going to move on to the second album, Shadows, and the track called Suburban Dawn. So let's have a little listen to Suburban Dawn. Here we go. Both Lady Hawke and I, we like this song.
Yeah, we did.
We love the special effects because that's part of the competition towards the end. The special effects that you can hear, what you just heard a few seconds ago. Whether you hear the last bit, we don't know, but either way, etc.
It's right at the end.
Right at the end, yeah. But Suburban Dawn, so obviously, what's suburban in its way? Where did that come from, please?
It came from the road I used to live in before I moved to Wales. And it was really about getting up and out on a weekday. And it starts with a very quiet kind of lead-in.
Yes.
If you listen with phones, you can really hear, the birds. I recorded my road very early in the morning. And you can hear the birds that start to sing at the first ray of light. And then gradually the cars and people start getting up. And the milkman, if you're lucky enough to still have a milkman.
That's very rare now.
They are, aren't they? But the villages still have them. And certainly when I lived there was a milkman, and he used to do his rounds very early. And you could hear the clinking of the milk bottles in the crate as he ran from door to door.
Oh, that's not you doing it then?
It is. That's me. The clinking that you can hear.
Yeah, that's it.
Am I giving anything away?
No, you just carry on with your clinking. You're just clinking away there nicely,
Well, the clinking that you can hear on the track, I actually did that over a microphone with a couple of milk bottles so that I got that lovely kind of bounce that you can get between the glass milk bottles and sampled it and used it in the track. But so it was me faking it, really.
Well, I'm not going to say anything more about that, but I like that. Clinking and clinking. Now, we've got a couple more tracks to go, but before we talk about the final two tracks, what was that in the background I heard? I heard something in the background then. Did you? I did.
Oh, yeah.
If everybody's listening, that's one of the part of the questions. Anyway, it's got the answers. Anyway, we're going to find. Where can people find out more about you and your music and etc., etc.?
Right, well, nearly everything about me is on my own website.
Right.
And that's www.houseinthewoodproductions, all one word, .com.
Oh, right.
And all links to everywhere are there. The normal, Facebook, Reverb Nation, Twitter, that sort of stuff.
Right.
And to buy, you can buy the physical CD at CD Baby.
Yes.
That's www.cdbaby.com/CD/Barbara Hills 12.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also buy the physical CD at Amazon.
Right.
You can buy downloads almost anywhere, to be honest. A myriad places. Go to your normal download site and you'll find it there.
Oh, well, that's...
And you can download single tracks or the whole thing, the whole album.
Well, sometimes digital download is pretty good, but I like to feel a CD in my hand, and I've got this double CD in my hand now, and I want photography. Now, how did you get that stag to perform right in front of you on the cover of Moon? Did it behave itself? And the same in Shadows. I mean, very well behaved. Can you talk to them? Yeah, the deer, yeah. Well, the deer with horns, yeah.
Well, the deer, they were actually, the pictures of the deer were taken by my husband, Peter.
Oh, right, Peter, yeah.
And we decided to go out and photograph deer at Hawke Deer Park.
Ah, right.
And when we got there, there was... We spent nearly all day, and there weren't any deer. They were all somewhere else.
Oh, dear.
Goodness knows where. Yeah. And then there was a sudden, terrible storm.
Oh.
It was one of those days where it was bright sunlight and a black as black sky, and you thought, I hope it goes the other way.
Oh, dear, yes,
but it didn't. And it deluged on us late in the afternoon.
Oh, dear.
And we went under trees to escape. And the deer suddenly just appeared. And they all had the same idea, just to shelter from it.
Oh.
And they were more concerned with the rain than they were with us.
Oh.
And so they just all came and we all sheltered together. And it was incredible. It was really lovely. And so we were able to get really close.
Oh.
Good photographs.
I see. I mean, that deer is actually bowing its head to you both, really. Yeah,
well, not to us, really. It was probably a doe somewhere.
No, it was bowing its head to you two, yes.
But that's how we got those photographs.
Oh, right.
Peter also took the photographs of the moon on each album.
Right, yeah.
There's a photograph of a moon, one in shadow for Shadows, and one not in shadow for Moon.
And
Peter actually took those as well.
He did.
And he also took one of the pictures inside, I think. One with a long road and a tower at the top.
Right.
But I took all the other photographs.
Well, even so, you can't beat a physical CD in your hand, and then you look at the pictures and think, oh, isn't that lovely? Oh, yes, there's that road. A long straight road with a spooky-looking house at the top.
Yes, it's a tower, yes.
Is that not your Castile, is it?
It's an ancient tower. That I think there is a history to it.
Oh, so there might even be a ghost there. So, Wales, you've got to watch out for... when I stayed in Wales with my brother, many, many years ago, my dad, he told my young brother, Nicholas, sadly died in September, that Welsh fish swim backwards. And from that point onwards, he would not eat fish and chips ever again.
No.
And yes, an old story. I know it's a silly old story, etc. But yeah, he took it when Dad, even though Dad said, no, I was only teasing, like. But 6 months later, but no, he wouldn't have it. No, bless him, and he was side point. But okay, so are you working on a new album? Are you going to go underwater for the next.
No, definitely not. Not for this one. Yes, I've actually finished a new album. It's not mastered yet.
Oh, right.
And I'm tossing up whether to wait and do another double, or just release a shorter version. The thing that's taken all my time at the moment is an audio book that I've been working on. It's written and read by yours truly, and it includes lots of music and effects as well. That's all in 20-minute chapters aimed at children for bedtime listening.
Oh.
It's quite long. It's 6 hours and 20 minutes. So you can imagine it's been a huge undertaking, really. But that should be out by the end of the year.
Okay.
And hopefully I will concentrate then on getting the next music album out.
Yeah.
Which I haven't quite decided on. I thought I might do some paintings to go with this one.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh.
So we'll just have to see how it goes.
Okay. Well, on canvas, I should imagine, but okay. Any gigs lined up there in North Wales?
Oh, you know me, Terry.
Yeah.
I'm not a live performer.
I know.
Admit it, for lots of reasons.
Yes, yeah.
The main one, because my music's so layered, I couldn't possibly actually play it myself all in one go.
We use tapes, you know. They all do it.
I know, but I don't know. I'd have to clone myself. I don't know that I could make it work. So I'm really much happier in the studio, just kind of messing in the studio.
Listen, well, if you could perform anywhere live, where would that be, and why? Yes.
Well, I remember last time you asked me this, and I said I'd like to perform on a sunny spring day in a woodland full of bluebells.
Nice.
And this time I'd like to add where the wood would be.
Okay.
I'd like it to be in the oak woods in the ancient kingdom of Merioneth in northwest Wales.
Wow.
Which is the most amazing place. Temperate rainforest, and it's part of the old Celtic rainforest of Western Britain and Ireland.
Oh, wow.
And there's a deep ravine there that's recently been discovered. That's supposed to be so inaccessible that no one's ever been there. Well, this is what's thought, apart from the two people that discovered it recently, and it's got rare and new species of plants. It's really quite special. That would do me nicely. I'll perform there with all the mosses and the ferns and the gnarled oaks.
And amongst the rain, by the sounds of it, as well. But...
Oh, there's a kind of beauty about the wetness of those.
Okay, we can have a listen to another very elegant track, Kingdom of the Swan, next.
Right.
Somewhere in the background it'll come forth around about now. Let's have a listen. Here we go. Well, I can see we're back in the country again, near the pond, near the water, and insects and little birds twittering away there. That's lovely. And what's this one all about? About swans? Must be.
Well, I always loved Sibelius's piece, The Swan of Tuonela.
Yeah.
But it's very, very sad, really. There's something very mournful about it.
Yes, yeah.
And I wanted to do a swan piece that was regal.
Yes.
And the swan was free and happy and at home in his own kingdom. So I wanted it to be a positive swan statement, really.
Oh.
So really that's where I started from with Kingdom of the Swan. I found some wonderful little sounds that were bubbles and squeaks and strange little noises, and I thought they would be great for all the tiny little creatures that live in the water.
Yeah, yeah.
So I tried really to paint a sound picture. In fact, most of what I do is painting, really, in sound. And so I was trying to paint this sound picture of the regal swan coming down a beautiful river.
Well, I can just imagine you sitting on the back of a swan, sailing down the river. We'll have a little bit more listen to King of the Swan. Here we go. Don't go away. Here we go. Yes, very elegant. Yes, I can see that, yes. Now, the next one we're going to hear is Snowflakes. We're about to snow again, so...
yeah.
So that must have been... I suppose,
Nice snow.
Yes. Well, the picture I forgot you had is with this... Obviously, it's snowing when that picture was taken.
Yeah, that's right, it was. It was. Well, you're absolutely right. Snowflakes was inspired by snowflakes.
Well, yes,
and there are snowflakes in the sunshine when it's all gentle and beautiful. Yeah. And at the end at night, I remember seeing snow. When I was a child, we had street lamps that weren't the yellow ones they have these days. Yeah. But the light was more a kind of greeny white light. Chemists will be able to explain it. I'm sure it must be to do with the gas they use in them or something. But it was a kind of white light, and I can remember watching snowflakes gusting around one of these lights at night. And they came in flurries that changed direction and moved around. And especially at the end of this piece, I wanted to try and recreate that movement and flurry of snowflakes. And that's what I tried to do with the sound.
Well, we'll have a little listen to it and see if we can imagine the snowflakes. If you haven't seen enough of snow, here we go. Yes, I think we can imagine the flurry of snow wafting its way. Well, that's almost it. We've gone through 6 tracks off the double album, so but we've almost finished interrogating you. We've got one more little job for you to do, because you very kindly sent two CDs signed by your good self. with a royal seal on it, of course, isn't it? So, and we did put a little question, didn't we, for this? I wondered that what were the two sounds, etc. But I'll hand you over to Lady Hawke and let her
All right.
There you go. There you go, Barbara. Here we go.
Hi, Barbara. Good to have you with us.
Good to be here.
Oh, great. I need you to call out two numbers for me.
Mm-hmm.
First, one between 1 and 10.
7.
7. That's Sean and Claire McCarthy in Ireland.
Oh.
To be sure.
Yeah. And between 11 and 20, please.
12.
12. Well, that CD is going to go to Denmark, actually.
Ooh.
Steenhauser in Denmark.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, and what was the two sounds they had to...
They both answered it correctly. That's the milk bottles rattling and an alarm clock going off.
That's right. That's the answer.
That's the answer. Yes.
That's the answer.
Oh, well done, those two winners, etc. And it's been... Thank you very much for sending them over to me. I'm going to send them back over the pond, well, not one of them, over the little pond, over the North Sea to Denmark, and one across the Irish Sea to Ireland, etc. Oh, thank you very much, Barbara. It's been good fun again, and it's been... can't believe it's been over a year.
I can't believe it either.
No.
But we wish you every success for the coming year, and however the projects go, and
Thank you very
the
much.
painting and the canvassing and whatever it is, and good luck with everything, Barbara. Okay then. Thank you, Barbara. I'll have a quick word with you off air, but in the meantime, thank you.
Thank you. Have a very happy Easter.
And the very
will,
same
you
to you.
too.
Thank you. We'll finish off with the snowflakes in the background, etc. Here we go. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you,
Barbara
Tom.
Hills.
Bye, Barbara.
Castile.
Bye.
Good will.